October 14th, 2024. 17-year-old Emma Rodriguez was finally cleaning out her deceased sister's bedroom, a task her parents had been unable to face for the 2 years since Maya's sudden death at age 19. As Emma sorted through her sister's belongings, trying to decide what to keep and what to donate, she discovered something that would change her understanding of everything she thought she knew about her family. Hidden beneath Maya's mattress was a leather-bound diary that Emma had never known existed. Maya had always been intensely private, but Emma had assumed it was just typical older sister behavior. Now, holding the diary in her hands, Emma faced a decision that would either give her closure about Maya's death or open wounds that might never heal. Emma had spent the 2 years since Maya's funeral feeling guilty about their complicated relationship, while everyone else remembered Maya as the perfect daughter, the straight-A student, the star soccer player, the girl who never caused any trouble. Emma remembered feeling constantly compared to her sister and found wanting. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. And if this story touches you, like this video and share it with someone who understands the complexities of sibling relationships. Your support helps us bring you these impactful family stories. Also, leave a comment with your perspective. Maya's sudden death from what doctors called complications from an eating disorder had shocked everyone who knew her. Maya had hidden her struggles so well that even her own family hadn't realized she was slowly killing herself trying to maintain the image of perfection that everyone expected from her. But as Emma opened the diary and began reading her sister's most private thoughts, she would discover that Maya's death wasn't the only secret her family had been keeping. The truth hidden in those pages would reveal a conspiracy of silence that had been destroying their family for years, and Emma would have to decide whether exposing that truth was worth the devastation it would cause. The first entry Emma read was dated 3 years earlier, and the words on the page would make her question everything she thought she knew about the sister she both loved and resented. I can't keep protecting Emma from the truth about Dad, but I also can't tell her. If she knew what I know, it would destroy her. So I'll keep being the perfect daughter, and I'll keep taking the pressure off her, even if it kills me. Emma Rodriguez had spent her entire life feeling like the inferior sister in a family that worshipped Maya's achievements. From the time Emma was old enough to understand comparisons, she had been measured against Maya's accomplishments and found lacking. Maya was 2 years older, and in those 2 years, she had established herself as everything parents could want in a daughter. She maintained a 4.0 GPA, was captain of the varsity soccer team, volunteered at local charities, and never seemed to struggle with the pressures that overwhelmed Emma on a daily basis. "Why can't you be more like your sister?" had been a constant refrain in Emma's childhood. When Emma brought home B's on her report card, her parents would point to Maya's straight A's. When Emma quit the basketball team because she didn't enjoy the competition, her parents reminded her that Maya never quit anything she started. The comparisons had created a complicated relationship between the sisters. Emma loved Maya, but also resented the impossibly high standard her sister's perfection had set. Maya seemed to effortlessly excel at everything she attempted, while Emma struggled to find anything she was genuinely good at. "I know Mom and Dad love you more," Emma had told Maya during one of their rare heart-to-heart conversations when Emma was 15. "You're everything they wanted in a daughter, and I'm just the backup child." Maya's response had been immediate and fierce. "Emma, don't ever say that. Mom and Dad love us both, just differently. And you have so many qualities that I wish I had. You're genuine, you're kind to everyone, and you don't need other people's approval to know your worth." But Emma had dismissed Maya's reassurance as the kind thing older sisters say, not recognizing the pain and exhaustion behind her sister's words. What Emma hadn't realized was that Maya's perfection was a carefully constructed performance designed to protect both sisters from their parents' unrealistic expectations and hidden problems. Maya had taken on the role of the perfect daughter to shield Emma from pressures she couldn't handle, but the cost of maintaining that performance was slowly destroying Maya's mental and physical health. The pressure to be perfect had started early for Maya. When their parents' marriage began showing signs of strain, Maya instinctively understood that her achievements were one of the few things that made her parent happy. She threw herself into academics and athletics, not because she loved them, but because her success seemed to stabilize her family. Maya was always the easy child, their mother Carol would tell friends. We never had to worry about her grades or her behavior. She just naturally excelled at everything. What Carol didn't see was the anxiety attacks Maya had before every test, the hours she spent perfecting assignments that other students completed in minutes, and the rigid eating habits she developed to maintain the athletic body that had become part of her identity as the perfect daughter. Maya's eating disorder had developed gradually, starting as healthy eating habits for athletic performance and evolving into restrictive behaviors that she used to control her anxiety about meeting everyone's expectations. She had hidden her struggles so skillfully that even her family doctor hadn't recognized the warning signs during routine checkups. The tragedy was that Maya's perfection had actually made her parents' problems worse instead of better. Her father, Richard, had used Maya's achievements to avoid dealing with his alcoholism and gambling addiction. Her mother, Carol, had focused on Maya's success to distract herself from her husband's behavior and her own depression. Both parents had unconsciously placed the burden of family stability on their older daughter's shoulders, never realizing that they were asking a teenager to carry weight that was destroying her from the inside out. As Emma continued reading Maya's diary, she would discover that her sister's perfect facade had been hiding not just personal struggles, but family secrets that would reframe everything Emma understood about their childhood and their parents' marriage. Maya's diary entries revealed a family dynamic that Emma had never fully understood as a child, but that had shaped every aspect of their upbringing. The perfect family image that Richard and Carol Rodriguez had projected to their community was built on lies, denial, and Maya's willingness to sacrifice her own well-being to maintain the illusion. Dad came home drunk again tonight. Maya had written in an entry from 2 years before her death. Mom pretended not to notice, and Emma was already asleep. So I'm the only one who helped in the bed and cleaned up the mess he made in the kitchen. I can't let Emma see him like this. She still believes he's the dad who takes us to soccer practice and helps with homework. I want her to keep believing that as long as possible. Emma read entry after entry documenting their father's alcoholism, which had apparently been a problem for years, but had been carefully hidden from Emma by both Maya and their mother. Maya had taken responsibility for managing Richard's addiction, covering for him when he was too drunk to function, and creating elaborate stories to explain his absences from family events. I told Emma that Dad couldn't come to my graduation because he had an important work meeting. Maya had written, "The truth is he was passed out in his car in the parking lot of Murphy's Bar. I found him there after the ceremony and drove him home while Mom took him out for ice cream to celebrate. Emma was so proud to tell everyone about my speech, and I couldn't ruin that by letting her know Dad missed it because he was drunk." But Richard's alcoholism was only part of the family secret that Maya had been carrying. The diary also revealed that her parents' marriage had been in crisis for years, with Richard's drinking complicated by gambling debts that had put their family's financial security at risk. Mom showed me the credit card statements today. Maya had written in an entry from 18 months before her death. Dad owes almost $30,000 to casinos, and Mom doesn't know how we're going to keep the house. She asked me not to tell Emma because she doesn't want to worry her before her junior year of high school. So I'm supposed to pretend everything is fine while they figure out how to avoid bankruptcy. Emma realized that during her junior year, when she had been focused on typical teenage concerns like grades and friendships, Maya had been carrying the weight of their family's potential financial collapse. Maya had continued excelling in school and sports while secretly worrying about whether they would lose their home. The diary entries also revealed that Maya had been working part-time jobs throughout high school, not to save money for college as her parents had claimed, but to help pay family expenses that Richard's gambling had made difficult to cover. I got another job at the coffee shop downtown. Maya had written, "I told Emma it's because I want to save money for a car, but really it's because Mom needs help with the mortgage payment. I'm working 20 hours a week on top of school and soccer, and I'm exhausted all the time, but I can't let Emma know how bad things really are." Emma began to understand that Maya's perfection hadn't been natural talent or easy achievement. It had been a desperate attempt to hold their family together, while protecting Emma from truths that might have destroyed her faith in their parents and their stability. The most devastating entries in Maya's diary would reveal that her eating disorder wasn't just about perfectionism. It was about control in a chaotic family situation and guilt about secrets she felt responsible for keeping. As Emma continued reading Maya's diary, The entries became more personal and revealed the internal struggle that had ultimately led to Maya's death. The eating disorder that had killed her sister wasn't just about maintaining her athletic appearance or meeting academic pressures. It was Maya's way of controlling something in a family situation that felt completely out of control. I can't control Dad's drinking or Mom's depression or the bills that keep coming, Maya had written 6 months before her death. But I can control what I eat and how much I exercise. When everything else feels chaotic, at least I can make my body do exactly what I want it to do. Maya's restrictive eating had started as a way to manage anxiety about her family's problems, but had quickly evolved into an addiction that gave her a sense of power and control that she couldn't find anywhere else in her life. I know I'm getting too thin. Maya had written in an entry from 4 months before she died. Emma asked me yesterday if I was feeling okay because I looked skinny sick, and I lied and told her I was just stressed about college applications. The truth is, I can't stop restricting my food intake because it's the only thing that makes me feel like I have any control over my life. The diary revealed that Maya had been aware of her eating disorder, but had felt unable to seek help because doing so would mean admitting to her parents that she was struggling, something she believed would add to their already overwhelming problems. If I tell Mom and Dad that I have an eating disorder, they'll blame themselves, and they already feel guilty enough about Dad's drinking and the money problems, Maya had written. They depend on me to be the strong one, the one who doesn't need help or cause problems. If I fall apart too, this whole family will collapse. Maya had trapped herself in a cycle where she felt responsible for maintaining family stability at the cost of her own mental and physical health. She had convinced herself that seeking help for her eating disorder would be selfish because it would divert attention from the family's other problems. But the most heartbreaking entries revealed Maya's guilt about the secrets she was keeping from Emma, and her belief that protecting her sister required her to sacrifice her own well-being. Emma came into my room tonight and asked why I've been so distant lately. Maya had written 2 months before her death. She said she misses talking to me and wants to know if she did something wrong. I wanted to tell her everything, about Dad's drinking, about the money problems, about how hard it is to keep pretending everything is okay. But if I tell her the truth, I'll destroy her senior year and maybe her faith in our family forever. So I lied and told her I was just stressed about college. She hugged me and said she loved me, and I realized that I would rather die than let her down or burden her with problems she shouldn't have to handle. Maybe that makes me a coward, but I can't bear the thought of Emma looking at our parents the way I do now, with disappointment and fear instead of love and respect. Emma realized that Maya had literally died trying to protect her from family truths that Maya believed would be too devastating for Emma to handle. The sister she had resented for being perfect had actually been sacrificing her own life to preserve Emma's innocence and stability. The final entries in Maya's diary would reveal that she had been planning to tell Emma the truth about their family, but that her eating disorder had progressed too far for her to survive long enough to have that conversation. The last few weeks of entries in Maya's diary showed a young woman who was finally ready to break her silence about their family's problems, but whose physical condition had deteriorated beyond the point where recovery was possible. I can't keep this secret anymore, Maya had written 3 weeks before her death. Emma deserves to know the truth about Dad's drinking and gambling, and about how hard Mom has been working to hold everything together. I've been protecting Emma from reality, but I realize now that I've also been protecting our parents from having to face the consequences of their problems. Maya had made the decision to tell Emma everything after graduation, believing that her sister would be emotionally mature enough to handle the family's struggles and strong enough to help find solutions. After Emma graduates next month, I'm going to sit her down and tell her everything. Maya had written. She's stronger than I gave her credit for, and she deserves to understand why I've been so distant and why our family feels so tense all the time. Maybe if we face these problems together, we can actually help Mom and Dad get the help they need. But Maya's eating disorder had progressed to the point where her body was beginning to shut down from malnutrition. The diary entries from her final weeks showed increasing confusion, physical weakness, and difficulty concentrating. Symptoms that Maya attributed to stress, but that were actually signs of serious medical complications. I'm having trouble remembering things, and I feel dizzy all the time. Maya had written 10 days before her death. I know I need to eat more, but I can't seem to make myself do it. Everything feels overwhelming, and the only thing that makes me feel better is the control I have over my food intake. Maya's final diary entry was written the night before she collapsed and was rushed to the hospital, where she died 3 days later from heart failure caused by malnutrition. I love Emma more than anything in the world, Maya had written in her last entry. I hope someday she understands that everything I did was to protect her and give her the childhood I wanted her to have. I hope she can forgive me for keeping secrets from her, and I hope she can be stronger than I was when she finds out the truth about our family. If something happens to me before I get the chance to tell her everything, I hope someone will help her understand that she was never the disappointment I was trying to protect her from being. She was always perfect exactly as she was, and I was the one who was broken. Emma realized that Maya had died believing she was protecting her sister, never knowing that Emma would have gladly shared the burden of their family's problems if it meant keeping Maya alive. Armed with the truth about her sister's sacrifice and her family's secrets, Emma would have to decide whether to confront her parents about the lies that had cost Maya her life, and whether honesty could heal a family that had been destroyed by years of deception. Emma spent 3 days after reading Maya's diary trying to process the revelation that her entire childhood had been carefully orchestrated to protect her from family problems that had ultimately killed her sister. The perfect family image she had grown up believing was real had been maintained through Maya's sacrifice and her parents' deception. The confrontation with her parents happened on a Sunday evening when Richard and Carol were having their usual quiet dinner, still pretending that their family was normal despite the absence of their deceased daughter and the obvious tension that had existed in their house for years. "I read Maya's diary," Emma announced, placing a leather-bound book on the dining room table where it landed with devastating finality. The silence that followed was heavy with years of lies, guilt, and family dysfunction that had been carefully hidden but never addressed. Richard's face went white, while Carol began crying before Emma had even explained what she had learned. "Emma, sweetheart, you have to understand," Carol began, but Emma cut her off with words that had been building for days. "I understand that Maya died keeping your secrets," Emma said, her voice steady despite the emotions overwhelming her. "I understand that she destroyed her body trying to be perfect enough to hold this family together, while you let Dad drink himself into debt and you pretended everything was fine." Richard tried to defend their choices. "Emma, we were trying to protect you. You were just a child, and these were adult problems that you shouldn't have had to worry about." Maya was just a child, too. Emma's composure finally cracked. She was 19 when she died, and she spent years carrying burdens that should have been yours to handle. You let her work part-time jobs to pay for Dad's gambling debts. You let her cover for his drinking. You let her sacrifice her mental and physical health to maintain the illusion that we were a perfect family. The confrontation continued for hours, with Emma forcing her parents to acknowledge the ways her dysfunction had contributed to Maya's death. Richard was forced to confront his alcoholism and gambling addiction, which he had managed to hide from Emma, but which had been destroying his family for years. Carol had to acknowledge that her depression and her inability to address Richard's problems had placed an unfair burden on Maya to be the family stabilizer and protector. "We thought we were protecting you," Carol said through tears. "Maya insisted that you shouldn't know about our problems, and we went along with it because it seemed easier than having difficult conversations." "Easier for who?" Emma demanded. "It wasn't easier for Maya. She died because she felt responsible for keeping this family's secrets and maintaining your reputation in the community." Emma's anger was justified, but it was also mixed with grief for the sister she had lost and regret about the complicated relationship they had shared. She realized that Maya's distance and perfectionism hadn't been about being better than Emma. They had been about protecting Emma from truths that Maya believed would hurt her. Emma's confrontation with her parents would force the entire family to face consequences that had been building for years, but it would also begin a process of healing that might have saved Maya if it had happened sooner. The weeks following Emma's confrontation with her parents marked the beginning of a painful but necessary process of family healing that addressed years of dysfunction, secrecy, and denial. For the first time since Maya's death, the Rodriguez family began having honest conversations about the problems that had been destroying them. Richard entered treatment for both his alcoholism and his gambling addiction, finally acknowledging that his denial had contributed to his daughter's death. The process of recovery was difficult and required him to face the financial and emotional damage his addictions had caused his family. I convinced myself that I could handle my drinking and gambling without affecting my family, Richard admitted during one of their family therapy sessions. But Maya's diary made me realize that she was covering for me and protecting Emma from seeing how bad my problems had become. She died partly because I was too selfish and cowardly to get help. Carol also began treatment for the depression she had been struggling with for years, and she started taking responsibility for the ways she had enabled Richard's addictions while placing unrealistic expectations on Maya to hold their family together. I failed both my daughters, Carol said during therapy. I failed Maya by letting her carry adult responsibilities, and I failed Emma by lying to her about our family's problems. I was so focused on maintaining appearances that I lost sight of what actually mattered, keeping my children safe and healthy. Emma began therapy to process her grief about Maya's death and her anger about the family's secrets that had been kept from her. She also had to work through complicated feelings about Maya, separating her love and admiration for her sister from her resentment about being deceived and protected from reality. I'm angry at Maya for not trusting me enough to tell me the truth, Emma admitted during one of her therapy sessions. But I'm also devastated that she felt she had to carry all of our family's problems alone. I would have helped her if I had known what was really going on. The family therapy process revealed that all 3 surviving members of the Rodriguez family had been affected by the dysfunction and secrecy that had defined their household for years. Emma had struggled with self-esteem and identity issues because she was constantly compared to Maya's perfect facade. Richard and Carol had avoided dealing with their personal problems by focusing on Maya's achievements and using Emma's innocence as an excuse not to face difficult truths. Maya's death was a tragedy, but it was also a wake-up call, their family therapist explained. This family had been heading toward a crisis for years, and Maya was the only thing preventing that crisis from happening. When she died, all the problems she had been managing came to the surface. As the family worked through their issues in therapy, they began to understand Maya's struggles in a new way. Instead of remembering her as the perfect daughter who had effortlessly excelled at everything, they began to see her as a young woman who had sacrificed her own well-being to protect the people she loved most. Emma started a support group for siblings of people who had died from eating disorders, sharing Maya's story as an example of how family dysfunction can contribute to mental health crises that affect the most vulnerable family members. My sister didn't die because she wanted to be thin, Emma would tell other families. She died because she felt responsible for protecting everyone else from problems that weren't hers to solve. Eating disorders are often about control and perfectionism, but they can also be about family roles and responsibilities that become overwhelming. 2 years after reading Maya's diary and confronting her parents about their family secrets, Emma Rodriguez had transformed her understanding of her sister's death into a mission to help other families avoid similar tragedies. Emma graduated from high school and chose to study psychology in college, with a focus on family therapy and eating disorder treatment. Her academic work was motivated by her desire to understand the family dynamics that had contributed to Maya's death and to develop better interventions for young people struggling with similar pressures. Maya's death taught me that mental health problems don't exist in isolation, Emma explained during a presentation at a conference on eating disorders. They develop within family systems, and recovery requires addressing not just individual symptoms, but also family dysfunction that contributes to those symptoms. Richard Rodriguez celebrated 2 years of sobriety and had been attending Gamblers Anonymous meetings while working to rebuild his relationship with Emma and repair the financial damage his addictions had caused. His recovery process had been difficult, but it had also allowed him to become the father Maya had needed but had never felt able to ask for. "I can't bring Maya back," Richard said during one of their family therapy sessions. "But I can make sure that Emma grows up with a father who is present and honest instead of absent and deceptive." Carol had made significant progress in treating her depression and had become an advocate for family mental health awareness in their community. She spoke openly about the ways family secrets and denial had contributed to Maya's death, hoping to encourage other parents to seek help before their problems affected their children. "I thought I was protecting Emma by hiding our family's problems from her," Carol reflected. "But I was actually putting the burden of protection on Maya, who felt responsible for maintaining family stability. No child should have to carry that kind of responsibility." Emma had also worked to rebuild her relationship with Maya's memory, moving beyond anger and guilt toward understanding and acceptance. She kept Maya's diary as a reminder of her sister's love and sacrifice, but she also used it as motivation to live the kind of authentic life that Maya had never felt free to pursue. Maya spent her whole life trying to be perfect for other people. Emma said, "I want to honor her memory by being honest about my struggles and asking for help when I need it. I want to live the life she couldn't, one where I don't have to pretend to be perfect to be loved." The Rodriguez family established the Maya Rodriguez Foundation, which provides support for families dealing with eating disorders and advocates for early intervention programs that address family dysfunction before it contributes to mental health crises. Emma speaks regularly at schools and community organizations about the warning signs of eating disorders and the importance of family honesty in preventing mental health tragedies. Her presentations often include excerpts from Maya's diary, with identifying details changed to illustrate how family secrets can become burdens that young people feel responsible for carrying. "My sister died keeping secrets that weren't hers to keep," Emma tells audiences. "She died trying to protect me from family problems that I could have helped address if I had known about them. Don't let the people you love carry burdens alone that you could share together." Emma's work has helped dozens of families identify early warning signs of eating disorders and seek treatment before those disorders become life-threatening. She has also helped family members understand their roles in supporting loved ones' recovery by addressing systemic issues that contribute to mental health struggles. The diary that had revealed devastating family secrets ultimately became a tool for healing and prevention that honored Maya's memory while helping other families avoid similar tragedies. "Maya's diary destroyed our family's lives," Emma concludes, "but also gave us the truth we needed to build something healthier. I wish she could have lived to see the family we became after we stopped pretending to be perfect and started working to be honest." If Emma's discovery about her sister's sacrifice moved your heart, please like this video and share it with someone who needs to remember the importance of family honesty and mental health awareness. Subscribe for more stories about families healing from secrets and trauma, and comment below if you've experienced similar struggles with family expectations or sibling relationships. Your story might help someone else feel less alone.